Hey everyone, this is the community call for March 6th, 2025, and I'm handing it off to the team.
Awesome.
Hey,
Happy
thanks.
to be here again. Do you want to kick it off, Rochelle?
Sure, yeah. So, thanks everyone for joining us. These community calls are really fun. We're in a transition time where it used to be DAO calls, but right now, since migration to Solana, the DAO's kind of paused at the moment, but we are still doing all of this by meeting together and talking and stuff. And we have some great updates for you guys, some updates about our development. Yesterday, we pushed out a blog that talked a lot about the worker nodes and manager nodes and requestor nodes to try to give everyone an insight, building upon, that screenshot we showed of the worker node page on our platform that's currently in development. So happy you guys are joining with us today to get some updates and I see some of our OGs from a long time ago popping back up. It's great to see you back in here again, Elizabeth, and Mayjaw's always around, and Burn and Sharif is always so positive, and of course Lenny and Dudu and Alan. Gosh, all these usernames sound hilarious sometimes. So happy to see everyone here with us. So yeah, let's start with a few updates. Jeffrey, Jesse, do you guys have anything to pop in?
Yeah, sure. I'll kick it off with a few updates on the technical aspect. Yeah, of course, it's always a little bit hard to give these like technical updates because rather you kind of want to show something to people, so it's so you're not like boring them with a lot of like technical details. So I'll try to keep it a little bit brief and very high level, so everybody can follow along. I'm also struggling a little bit with a cold, so pardon my nasal sounding voice. So yeah, on a technical level, the main protocol that we're building, the Effect AI protocol, basically, that will be comprised of a few smaller subset of protocols. And the most important one, of course, is the tasking protocol. So the tasking protocol is just the underlying software that makes workers and managers understand what tasks are and how to interpret them, basically. I think, as some of you have already seen, Rochelle, I think it was 2 weeks ago, we posted a little teaser on the worker dashboard. It's not final or anything, but basically that's a little demo of the tasking protocol, and a worker can basically join a pool there, connect up with a manager node, and yeah, start doing tasks, completing tasks, etc. So another very important part of this whole puzzle, this whole protocol, is how are we gonna handle payments, basically, right? Because without payments, you're just gonna be doing tasks. Yeah, it's a very important aspect, right? And of course, we try with this protocol, the main goal is to handle as much off-chain as possible, because we don't want to fall into the same like pitfalls that we did on EOS. Basically, we've learned from our mistakes. So we try to do as much off-chain as possible and only do the very necessary things on-chain, basically. So once,
just to interject,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
no, that's
So
okay.
you guys, you remember on EOS when you're trying to do tasks, but then it just gridlocked, right? And we couldn't do anything. You couldn't submit a task after you did it, and it was a huge pain. So this is where in the blog yesterday it talked about those ZK rollups, and that's where it allows us to do a lot of the submission and receiving, still all transparent, all batched together. So all this extra traffic kind of not on the main chain taking all the resources. So this clears all of that frustration that all of us were having when we were doing tasks on EOS, where everything was like completely pushed right to the main chain in real time, and it just gridlocked and all that problem. So that kind of explains and ties in a little bit with that. So sorry, I'm
Yeah, thank
excited
you.
about it. So sorry, I had to explain it better.
No, that's
Borka
okay.
turn.
Feel free to jump in, anyone that that wants to. Thank you, Rochelle. So yeah, as you also said, um, you gave a little hint about the technical aspect that we're trying to solve the problem with, but basically what we're trying to aim for is once like a manager gets a task back from a worker and he does his final checks, he thinks it's valid, it's completed, the manager will generate a payment, right? And the payment is basically just a small piece of data. It's basically just a proof that you that you did work, and you can basically redeem that payment. The worker can redeem that payment, hand it over to a smart contract on Solana in this case, but can very easily be ported to any kind of blockchain. The logic is quite light. Yeah, and then the worker will get paid out on chain, right? So just by submitting basically a payment, they will be paid out without like any sort of state that you have to keep track of on chain. Like we had on EOS, we had all the campaigns, all the tasks to basically check, is this task completed? Yes, you can pay it out, but you don't want all that. So yeah, there's a few things that a few gotchas, I would say. It's a few technical roadblocks that we had to tackle with to make this possible, basically to enable like off-chain payments and how they will settle on-chain. The most difficult one is we're dealing with Microtask, obviously, so we're also dealing with micro payments. So payments might be very small. It might be couple cents, might be 10 cents. It depends really on the campaign that you're doing, right? We're lucky that we're on Solana, because let's say you would submit one payment and for 5 or 10 cents. Solana is quite cheap, but still, you don't want the payment to be 10 cents and the transaction cost to be 5 cents, right? That's horrible. Like that's almost like Ethereum-esque gas fees kind of thing. So yeah, we were trying to find a solution for this. Basically, how we can bulk many different kinds of payments into one single transactions. And maybe Jesse can go a little bit more in detail about how we try to solve this issue and what we have in mind for solving this.
Yeah, of course. That was a good explanation, Jeff. Thanks for the for that, because the main updates we're sharing now are technical ones, as we're going towards like a finished first usable version of the product that's working from A to Z, and a lot of components are there. Like Jeff just mentioned, the new architecture that we're using is gonna ensure that we have like blazing fast interaction. So because not everything has to settle on chain, we're able to have like immediate responses. And once you get a microtask and you submit it, that will just all be instantaneous without having to wait for any settlement. So it means that we're able to keep a lot of the data private. So the tasks going into the network can be private to both not the whole network will be able to see what kind of tasks get posted, and also the results that come out of that can be private to the task provider, to the person that puts the data there. So it gives a lot more privacy to the network. But what we're basically doing is creating this second layer where there is a lot of interactions happening between data being annotated by humans and like little proofs being generated that this has happened. But there is the crucial moment that's technically like kind of challenging to solve, and that's the one thing I think the update that Jeff referred to, and that is, I guess, the most exciting to talk about. And without going into too much technical detail, but the moment of payment is what's the most interesting in this setup. As once you've been working for maybe a few days in a row, you have collected a lot of you have done a lot of data annotations, and you will have all these little receipts of the data that you annotated. And the system that we're designing now is that you're able to claim the payment for all the tasks that you did through a smart contract on Solana, by using like a zero knowledge proof of the work that you've done. So that's sort of the ZK rollup Rochelle mentioned. It basically means that you generate a proof of the work you've submitted over a period of time, and you will get paid on chain for that amount of work. So that is the one feature that we're currently still putting into place in the system we're currently building. And yeah, that's sort of the final piece that's still being finalized, but we're really excited that this all came together now. Like, we're very confident that the pieces that are there will work as designed, and we'll have the benefits that we just named, that it will work out. So yeah, the payment system is one of the coolest elements that we've made so far. And we're also working on creating a blog post and some accompanying documentation to explain how this works. And yeah, I guess that's as far as it makes sense to discuss the technicalities. Like, if you look under the hood, there is a lot of cool, like, mathematical and new cryptographic constructs that have become very popular lately in Web3 space. We're kind of taking advantage of the fact that the zero knowledge proof sector, like that area of Web3, has been really maturing lately. So there's a lot of tooling available for generating these proofs, and they're so powerful. I think it's one of the most coolest technologies. And they're like a perfect fit for our network right now to be able to scale and be user friendly. So yeah, that's I think on the technical side, the most interesting updates. Maybe one other part that's worth to mention is, because of course there's more elements to our network, but I think what I would like to just quickly mention in this update too is that we're working on a system for making the validation of tasks more easy, but also more trustworthy. That's also an element that historically has been quite tricky, to make sure that the workers that are online, that are submitting tasks, that they're doing proper work, and that we can basically cancel out, or that task providers won't be exposed to new workers that don't do work properly. And we have a system in place, or we're developing that now for this first version of the product, where as you're online, a worker will be able to get like a base rate. So you will always, like, for just being online, being available, basically providing that supply of your talent to the network. While that's there, you will get like this base income from being available. That's sort of the system that we have there. Like, this, the sort of, we call it a heartbeat, but like, it means that you're available, you're providing talent, and you get paid for being there. And then we have another system that basically posts challenges to the worker. So it means you will get from time to time a special kind of task that the task provider knows or that the manager knows the answer to. And once you submit that, the manager nodes will be able to validate that the answer is correct. This is a system that we're also already employing in that first version, because it's so vital to getting quality people on the network. So that basically touches on the validation that's sort of mostly automated in this version of the product, that we're also excited about, is it's going to make the network a lot more manageable in a high quality setting. Those were, I think, technical updates up to this point. I'm not sure if you wanted to add more, Rochelle, or we want to leave some space for questions before going to the next topic.
No, I think you touched on that quite well yesterday in the main chat. DJ, you brought up the something about the validation and things, and how it will work out. But I think Jesse touched on that a little bit. It's still being built. Did you want to ask any more about it, DJ?
Yeah. So, from what I understand, you mentioned that the tasks now are more private. So, how would the worker know, like, from where do they get the tasks, like, to complete? Is it something the manager node will be responsible for?
You wanna answer this one, or let me answer it, Jess?
You can go ahead. I think
Um,
you'll
Yeah,
be able to
so
explain
in
it better.
the V0, how it works right now is it's basically a dumbed down version of how we envision it. But to keep it simple, workers will pair up with manager nodes, um, and manager nodes will basically listen for tasks in the network from providers, and they will start assigning tasks to the workers that have connected to them, basically. So it's just a simple queue system. So let's say 10 people connect up to a manager node, and then the manager node will start to wait for tasks. Once he gets the tasks from providers, he will just give the tasks to the workers in yeah, in a fair way, basically. That's for the V0. Of course, there's very cool and intricate algorithms that we can think of to make it more fair, to yeah, to make it more honest. But for now, it's just a simple queue system. I don't know if that answers your question,
I see.
Nick.
So then this node is quite literally like a server node that they run. Not only do they stake, but they like, run something on some server to propagate these tasks to workers.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, right now we envision it, yeah, a manager node to be ran like a VPS, basically. This might change though. We're not 100% sure yet, but at least for the V0, it's just kind of like yeah, a server run in yeah, in a hosted environment somewhere, or on a decentralized yeah, compute provider somewhere.
And then for validation, can you go more like, maybe I missed it, but like to verify the tasks that were completed, I assume someone else needs to like review it, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
what does that mean in
y-
practice?
yeah, so what Jesse explained is also, I guess, called validating, but of course there's another part of the validation of tasks, right? To make sure, or to check basically that the tasks that are submitted by workers are up to a certain standard. Yeah, that system, we're still working on it, how that's exactly gonna work, but I think in a general overview, a task provider can basically yeah, supply the, the the amount of the basically the rate of how much tasks will be validated inside of their campaigns, maybe a percentage wise, or because of course it's a lot more work, right? And the payment has to come from somewhere. So let's say you have like a campaign that requires like a very accurate work. The task providers have to basically pay more in order for their tasks to be validated a lot more. And then every time the worker submits a task, uh, yeah, according to the number of the validation rate, basically the manager will send it out to validators, and they will get it back. That's maybe in a high level overview of how it's gonna work, the validation process. But what Jesse explained is also part of it, but it's more to fish out the bad actors from just staying online and not doing any tasks at all, basically, and claiming their base rate of EFX or effect. Sorry.
I see. So workers will be expected to complete tasks if they're available.
Yes, yes, e- exactly. If you're in the pool, you're basically saying I'm ready for work. If you're not ready for work, or you've been shown to not accept enough work, or yeah, there might be some sort of punishment for that. But yeah, this is all still due to change.
Gotcha.
This is the new sort of paradigm where when you're available as a worker, you're online and you're getting like you've indicated to the network that you are ready to take on tasks, which in that instance you provide basically your talent, you provide power to the network. You're there ready to take on. So the capacity of the network increases on the number of tasks it can handle. And you that's also when you get like this base income already for adding that little value, like for being there. It also means that when you get assigned a task, that you are expected to actually handle that task. Because if you're no longer available, you should also indicate that you're not. And in this new paradigm, basically, we see workers that are online with either a mobile device or in the browser. And once work for them becomes available, they will get a notification. And of course, I mean, there will be some sane amount of like being like reasonable amount of opportunity to skip on a task. For example, perhaps you can do that once every now and then. And what we're not sure about yet is exactly how harsh the punishment should be and what kind of punishment do we want to add at exactly what triggers. But if you're available, you should basically accept the task assigned to you into a reasonable amount. And that's how that works. And when it comes to the validation part, like I think Jeff explained really well. And in the beginning, we're probably gonna go like as a manager node, you can have certain modules in there on how you want to validate tasks. And one of them will be to sort of automatically do that through challenges, which means that you're from time to time posting tasks that you know the answer to, and you use that to automatically validate. But we can also add modules later, probably that are a bit more in depth. For example, managers could like post tasks again to the like when they receive results to post the task again, or to basically post the task to validate that result to a different pool of workers, and in that way get a higher confidence on whether the result is correct that it received. As in the end, the manager is sort of responsible for what he's gonna serve back to the provider. So the module that takes care of the validation can be more complicated and will become more complicated over time. Get that high confidence score for the results that flow back to the provider.
Got it. And then I guess this is gonna be implemented, I guess, much sooner or much later. But then the slashing, I figure that's where the DAO would have to come in to settle like disputes of some sort.
I think so. I think that's a part that's kind of hard to predict ahead of time. Like we can have some idea of how this will unfold and how that will work, but yeah, that definitely the DAO will play a role. Like when disputes arise, like when data isn't good, and like there definitely needs to be a sort of dispute resolution on a higher level that will be handled by the DAO. That will definitely be there. But there's also going to be some automatic caching happening. For example, when workers decline too many tasks, they should be able to, like we should, because they get that base pay, but if they're not available, that means that they should be punished in some way to discourage them from just collecting that base pay but never working. So there is some expectations on different levels of the network. Exactly what kind of punishment will happen, like what kind of slashing will happen, and exactly at what points dispute resolution is used, like these things will be developed at a later time. I think it's also very like as the network grows and as the user network grows, then these things become more and more and more relevant. I think in the initial release, we can get away with quiet, basic, elementary systems on punishing workers, as it's kind of easier to keep an eye on the whole thing.
And in regards to workers, would the manager nodes be responsible for, I guess, recruitment? Like, there's like some sort of way that they designate someone as a valid worker.
Yeah, yeah. This is also part that will be like this part will also be like get more evolved and more like advanced later on as we progress. But the manager is responsible for having a group of workers fight and reachable within its network. So manager nodes actually they look around the network and they communicate with workers that are connected to the network, and they identify the ones that are interesting, and they will be able to address them. So basically delegate tasks to the ones that they get a connection with. And that's currently happening as again in a pretty simple way, as we're going to start off with just a few types of tasks and a few types of worker talents that are on the network. But that can get more complicated, and like it's again a module that we can make more complicated and more advanced as the needs of the network might change. So managers might get very advanced ways of recruiting workforce members. That's something that's it's not totally predictable yet, but like the first elementary version basically means that workers just say, hey, I'm available. This is the proof that I'm available, and I can do these types of tasks. And managers will just basically keep a list of all these announcements of the workers, and then just distribute the tasks to the ones that are available. It's like the routing. Like managers are responsible for routing the tasks to the right worker.
Got it.
Thanks for this. But quickly to recircle back to the task skipping thing, it in our version on EOS, I would get a lot of requests from the workers like, is there a way for us to skip this task? And then, we instituted a thing where we could report the task, but then that caused some problems with the protocol. So, that's a feature that all workers, even on other platforms, appreciate, being able to just skip that task or, send it back in the pool, and get another one. But also, there's a problem with on other platforms that I've experienced, and I've leveraged this myself. I have been we call it cherry picking, and I have done this before too, where there's a batch of tasks and you try to get as many done as you can, before they're all up from all the other workers in the pool doing them. And so if you've come upon one that's going to take a little bit of time, it's not as profitable for you as a worker to do it. So you skip it, you throw it back in there, and you're basically just cherry picking all the quick, easy ones. Well, on some platforms, there is like a rejection rate, not a rejection rate, return rate, where they take the percentage of like all the tasks that you've done against the percentage of tasks that you have just quit and said, no, I don't want to do that one, and move on. There's all kinds of things. So there will be a metric set, because it's not fair to the whole pool for cherry picking, but there are some instances where you get something and you're like, I am not prepared for this. I can't do it. Or something in the personal life happens, a phone call or your internet goes out or something, and then you have, sent it back. I mean, those things happen. So yeah, coming up with a thing for that. But yeah, it's a good feature to have, but then also it's something to guard against for cherry picking. Okay, I'm done on my soapbox.
So that's all the questions from me. You said you had another thing you wanted to discuss. You're kind of breaking up right now, Jesse.
Did we lose him? Oh, he'll probably pop back up. Give him a moment here.
Maybe while Jesse's fixing his connection or audio, if there's anyone from the audience with like specific questions, technical questions, or anything about the protocol or something, I'm happy to answer them. Alan
Alan,
asking if we're still on track. Can you give us a time when we're up and running? Yes, yeah, for sure. We're definitely on track. I think Q1 has been mentioned a couple times. I think yeah, it's always hard to give like hard promises, but with how it is looking right now, yeah, I would say we estimate something to be out there, something very basic at the end of this month, maybe yeah, in the middle of next month. That's kind of the next deliverable estimation, basically. Yeah, don't quote me on it. It might, of course, we're solving a lot of like very hard technical problems with the systems we're building. So we might hit a few delays here and there, but yeah, how it's looking right now is positive.
When you mentioned the minimal state, how would that look on the task provider side? Would there be also like a minimal SDK?
Yeah, we're trying to well, for sure, once we hit like a beta or alpha version, there will be some sort of SDK to be able to post tasks into the network. For the first version, I'm not sure if I can comment already on what that is gonna look like. Yeah, how the task will be coming into the network is still something we are figuring out for the first version at least. If that's gonna be tasks provided by partners or tasks that we are gonna provide in the initial beginning. So we're not sure yet if the SDK, the belonging SDK, will be out there for the first version, but it will definitely, yeah, it will definitely arrive once we push like a beta or alpha version. Yeah.
And as Elizabeth asked, so do you think there will be tasks to complete with this minimal launch?
Yeah, there will definitely be a lot of tasks to complete. That's what we're aiming for. Um, yeah, we're aiming to really not only yeah, have a like a working product, but also really test the yeah, the systems that we're building. Um, by basically yeah, having people doing a lot of tasks right on the network and see how everything balances out and how everything is working and integrating together. So there will definitely be work, enough work for our workers to do. Not everybody will be able to sign up. We're gonna handpick a few people to be able to receive tasks basically for the first versions. Um, but those that will yeah are able to receive tasks, they will have enough work for sure.
sort of like a slow roll.
And Jesse, are you back? Is your microphone working now?
I think so. Yeah, I could hear the last 30 seconds of Jeffrey talking, so I hope I'm back.
Yeah, we hear you.
Wasn't sure what went wrong. Great, then it should be good. I missed quite a bit of the conversation of the last few minutes.
It was just a question on the state of the SDK for task providers in the first version, and Jeffrey mentioned that it likely will be more. It seems like to me it's going to be focused more on manager nodes and worker nodes in this first version, and then and task providers will come after. That's my interpretation.
Yeah, exactly. So the first version is really to see how the protocol behaves basically, and the manager nodes and the worker nodes, how that all balances out. And yeah, the next push will have a heavy focus on getting like real tasks into the network.
Yeah, indeed. Like the first tasks that we're gonna support, like probably we'll figure out a way to make it quite easy to add some tasks to the network, like sort of a like just a REST endpoint of a service we host. So that can be used to add tasks to the network, like posting them directly to relevant managers. And then that can be used by like anyone to add tasks, sort of in a controlled setting. But like indeed the full like build it yourself task provider SDK will be a bit later down the line. We don't think it's not a priority right now to get that finished, because we first want to have all the other elements there. So for each types of task that we support, we will probably write like a little server or some system ourselves that pushes the tasks into the network. And then that will probably be exposed as like a REST endpoint. Like we'll start off easy and then make like in the next iteration, in the next phase, we will work on the full-fledged SDK for task providers. So that's basically not part right now of the next of the upcoming release.
Gotcha. And then before you got disconnected, earlier before I started asking all the questions, you mentioned you had something else you wanted to discuss.
I didn't myself have something else to discuss. I thought there was an agenda or topics like community questions. But maybe there isn't, so I wasn't aware. I just wanted to leave some space in case there was more
Oh,
to
okay.
discuss than the technical updates.
Oh, let's see. Let's open the chat. Ta-da. Alan's typing.
Well, aside from the technical updates, we have seen Rochelle post a lot of content on the Twitter and writing out all these blog posts, which is good.
Thank you. I got lots more too.
I guess I do have like more other questions. So you mentioned that workers will be paid uh, as a proof of being available, but money where does that come from, like funding wise? Is it something manager nodes will pay? Is that something the network fees will be expected to I guess pay for?
Yeah, good question. So this iteration, it's the manager node that does that to incentivize the workers to be online. We are considering like to blend this into the tokenomics more, like instead of just having it as a manager node provided fee, it kind of is very close to like in a technical sense, it's very close to how the current staking pool works that has like a base income system as well. Like it has this continuous element where being staked gives you that reward rate, which is nearly identical to like being online. So on the smart contract level, we're reusing a lot of what's happening. And we are quite tempted right now to blend partially that together. So to have like these pools of basic income for the people that contribute to the network. And also take a look later on how we're gonna reward DAO participation, how we're gonna reward. So I think yes, the answer to that question directly would be that I would like to have this part of the tokenomics where being like contributing to the network in different ways gives you this rewards. And one of those ways is to be available, which is a specific case. And that those tokens would come from either like the incentive tokens, like the mining incentive type tokens of the network, or they could come from network fees later on. But this needs to be further worked out. Like at the moment, these are just basically up to the manager to provide. And the manager that we're gonna launch, like that will be launched in the beginning, will be expected to provide
Yeah,
some tokens for accommodating the workers that start.
yeah, I think like just thinking about it for a bit, I feel like it has to be the manager nodes who provide this because otherwise there could be an incentive, just to create a manager node and then have them like do nothing and have the workers collect the fees and stuff, or not the fees, collect the just the proof of like existing. Um, so if I figure the manager nodes themselves will be able to apply their own, I guess, manager fee to tasks, and that's how they can be competitive with other manager nodes. Like some will be maybe slightly more expensive, but you can kind of expect more quality work from them. So I figured for keeping their workers happy, they could also make sure there's a decent, I guess, proof of being available involved in there too. Kind of just a market, so the ideal ratios can be established kind of in a free way.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. With this, a big thing working on other platforms and stuff, as a worker, when you're just waiting for tasks to appear and you're available and stuff, that's, to me, that is unpaid work. And when I relied solely on all these microtasking platforms, for an income, being on like 7 of them at one time, being available, you never got compensated. And so, that's a thing. That in like, I don't know, some of the like the gig economy stuff, they started paying people who were like in the queue and things like a little bit of a base pay. And that's one thing that's very important, for me, because that's time. That's time you're putting in and being available. You should be compensated for it. I mean, even if it's not much, you still should be. And then when it comes to like the manager node thing, there's ways that could become very, very lucrative. You're talking about um, finding a pool of talented workers, for different things, and then incentivizing them to do the quality work, and then they'll stay on and they'll stay connected to you and provide you quality work because they're making good money doing the task for you. And so it's all about incentivization and, about what you make it. And if there's some really motivated people, they can make being a manager node very lucrative, and workers can even make a very, this being on our platform very lucrative for them too, as long as it's, quality stuff. So this part of it, I am just super excited about because it's my jam. So there's going to be some exciting things happening once this whole thing is all completely done.
As
I'll be
Dudu
quiet.
asked, do you tend to publish roadmaps?
Yeah, we intend to publish a more detailed roadmap on what's coming up. At the moment, we just like focused on this release. We want this release out and have a few users using it. But once we hit that point, we will like release an accompanying roadmap that goes further out and will discuss the features and improvements coming later. So we do intend to release that.
Publishing. Alan is asking about the older blog posts. He wants them up and available.
Which blog posts like
Probably
from
when
the
you
old
redesigned the site, the prior blog posts were lost, perhaps.
like on staking, right? And some other ones, I guess, were there.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be putting those back. A lot of them are also
Obsolete.
yeah, kind of outdated and not really relevant anymore with our current tech, and will only confuse people. So I don't think we're gonna bring those over, Alan. Sorry.
No, I think he's talking about like the ones since we did the migration, like the more recent ones.
Those are on the website. The migration blog post, you mean?
Yeah. Did
Yeah,
we
those
did
are
we
on the
add
website.
did we add pagination?
Yeah.
Oh, we did. Okay. Alan wants to know if I'm getting extra help in getting this work done. Yes. Yes, don't worry, Alan. I am good. We are all good with this. Oh, Lenny typing. Don't want me burning. Alan, this is my dream job. This is my career. There's no way I would burn out.
I think the only comment I'll have is oh, and Lenny's talking about base pay too.
Yes,
Yeah,
Lenny, you get it. I've been there.
the only thing is you mentioned using the staking system we have though. Wouldn't you want them to kind of just like like clock in and clock out because you can't expect the person to like be available 24/7, right? They have to sleep. So you kind of like want some sort of turn off and turn on your availability.
Yeah, you definitely need to be able like because we're human, right? And we don't want to like if you're online and you forget to sort of clock out or like say you're not available and like you don't want to get punished for that normal behavior. So there needs to be the rules need to be flexible enough to allow these common mistakes, but also disencourage people to just farm the basic rewards. So that there's gonna be like I guess that's what you meant, Joe, but there's a balance to be found there.
Well, yeah, just because I was just thinking the current staking system, like it's 24/7, right? You accumulate rewards, but with clocking in and clocking out, it's always going to be a time period. In fact, they'll probably be suspicious if a person, is always available, right? Because
Right.
because
Yeah, that's why we kind of what Jesse mentioned earlier, right? With the challenge system. So every now and again, a worker will receive a challenge from a manager. It's basically, yeah, a heartbeat or whatever you want to call it. If the worker fails to complete the challenge or doesn't hand in the challenge, you will just get kicked out of the pool. I think that's the most obvious approach for now. You will not get any punishment. You will just not receive your last X amount of minutes for the base pay.
There's no way you
Since
can use like a mouse wiggler for this.
no, it will not be solvable by a bot. That's the whole idea of those challenges. Yeah.
Oh, and I guess my another question is so because we really want the workers to be able to respond quickly. How would that work in practice? Like, would they be having a browser like app ready to give them notifications when there's a task available? What is it like on the phone, like a mobile app? What's the vision here?
So yeah, depending on the platform used, first thing that's coming out is the web-based one, and I assume there has to be a notification, right? So I assume we can use the like the notification web technology to basically allow that to happen. Also, I strongly believe that mobile is an important platform for notifications for these types of things, as it's quite important that you respond to these certain challenges that you get from time to time. But I think Jeffrey, if he might have better ideas on this, but I think that the version already has a notification method where once you get the task, like if you have your tab open anywhere on your computer and you get a task, then you would get a notification pop up. I'm not too good in the web technology stack, but I think that's
Yeah.
that's what we can put in place already.
Yeah, that's not too much of a too difficult to implement. The only thing is that you have to request the permission from the user to be able to send notifications with through the browser. So we'll probably have to make people enable the notifications in their browser, and then whenever you get a task, you will hear a sound to
Yeah,
to alert you.
and the workers have the incentive to enable the notification, so be good that it's
Yeah,
available.
exactly. So I think that part will be will not be too difficult.
Either a bell or I say a screaming goat. We need that notification.
Yeah, we were also experimenting a bit with like browser plugins. It's kind of cool. It has a purpose for specific types of tasks that are more related to scraping data. I think the browser plugin would be a good platform, but we were experimenting a little bit with that as well, and don't think that's gonna be like the way we go with, especially at the start, because of security reasons and plenty of other things that are like people don't really like to have too many browser plugins installed. But that's also an option to notify. Like there's different ways we could potentially accommodate, but the basic one it will be like once we release will be like the web notification thingy that you have to approve.
I mean, one thing that I personally, want to try to avoid, with our platform is, like, take for instance mTurk. There was no support for workers. Workers had to band together and make their own, browser extensions and tooling and scripts and stuff, to help them find work, to be notified when work, was up and new things. And so that's stuff that, we're taking into account with the platform, as we build it out is, it shouldn't be that way. Everything should be all inclusive for a worker, to make the best of their experience on the platform. So, yeah, those are things that, we're also cognizant about as we're building.
Sounds good. So then for Q1, what do you envision happening? Uh, Not 100%, but that's mid-April. Is this phase where we're gonna test manager nodes and worker nodes interacting with each other, and then what follows after that, I guess, for the next quarter would be the task provider system with the SDK and all that.
Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right. We're not like we decided to not commit now 100% to when this is gonna come out, but we are very close, and this first version gonna come out uh pretty soon, and then it will have a small user base, and we'll be able to. We want to make also alongside like some kind of explorer or dashboard where you can see what's happening. So these are things that we're gonna see soon. We're also gonna publish a lot about the architecture and like really make sure that the documentation on how things work and how to use them is very it's just available, so it gives a lot more substance. But and then like you said, DJ, then we will work on the SDK for making tasks, providing tasks very easy. So that will come after that, along with like another. We will like work on a roadmap as well, so we can look like plan these milestones ahead that are important to hit along the year. But the things you mentioned, yeah, that those are correct.
Yeah, I asked about the SDK because are you familiar with the term vibe coding? Because it's getting pretty good now that I already built my own transcription app for these DAO calls, and it divides up into various chunks, small little, between every pause, like content, which then I can process with Whisper locally. And really, the only step left is just having the workers complete a review of this because there's, a bunch of micro speeches I don't want to review personally. So yeah, I figure like once with the way vibe coding and code generators like Cursor, if you have a good documentation for the SDK and people can just like copy some template and use it as an example, and then just use that to generate more templates, generate the all they need to quickly build stuff up. I think we're in a much better advantage compared to EOS days because back then you needed pretty good technical knowledge to build the templates and build a dApp. But I think we're going to get to a point right when this is launching that it's a lot easier for the lay person to build something that they envision, and so hopefully we can get to that state.
Yeah, I agree. I think so. A big part of, what we need to have is usability. So great documentation that's very clear, not only for a technical person, but someone just new, trying to do it who's maybe not technical. We need just tons of tutorials, tons of documentation, videos, how-to stuff. That is all in the works because you can have a great product, but if nobody knows first of all what it is, what they can do with it, and then how they can use it, it's not going to go anywhere. So,
Yeah, primarily it should be text-based, because
mhm,
that's the easiest to just copy something and then paste it in either
yep,
ChatGPT or Claude and be like, so this is this by Effect AI, now build me, a template for this. And I mean, like, it pretty much gets it right. Um, so that'll make it
yeah,
things very easy, compared to in the past.
yeah, and we have to have the stuff out there so all the AIs can scrape it and then know what to do with it and teach people. So,
Yeah, like the only question will be like, the heartbeat will definitely need to be a good anti-AI agent check because AI agents may be competitive with some workers in the past. So the quality of work will need to be higher because AI agents too are getting very good.
yeah, trying to help build them to be very good too. Whole circle.
All right, I have to run soon, guys. So yeah, I want to thank you all for coming
I guess.
today, and I get yeah. I hope you guys like the updates. I have to go. You guys can continue on, of course, but
Bye, Jeffrey.
bye
You have a
bye.
good one.
Thank you.
Yeah, we covered a whole hour now.
Yeah, aside from as Rochelle and you and Sharif, you talked about the marketing. I did mention to you too. For some reason, SoulScan took off the icon for the Effect AI token, and they still have yet to update like the social links, and so I can't really communicate with them. They're like, you don't have an Effect AI email domain, so screw off. That's basically what they told me. So, uh, someone needs to like, I, I'm not sure if you can just do that for support or something else needs to be done.
Do it. I did their little support thing, submission, and I still haven't heard back from them yet. I don't know. These places, they just, I think, just take forever to get stuff done with, but I am working on that one.
Okay, it's good to be in the to have that in the pipeline.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's strange that they suddenly dropped that. I was looking into it. I'm gonna pick this up as well again. Just I haven't found out yet what happened. So yeah, but good one. We'll get that sorted. It's on the list within the team, and someone will pick it up and chase it. Because yeah, I understand you if you don't have an official email or something, they often don't listen to your requests.
Yeah, aside from that, there's not much we can do on marketing because the environment is just very I don't know, fearish, is that a word? Scared for things we cannot control. But I think the timing it is good for the development because I think things will get better later this year.
Yeah, crazy times. So much happening in the space right now, but I absolutely agree. I think time now is as good as ever to get the product out there. And I also think there's a lot more coming this year, like probably up and down, and uh, we'll
Yeah, like
see. But I'm pretty optimistic on the on the long run of Web3 as always. So.
yeah, I think the it's a perfect opportunity to help build up data sets. Because even like with this transcription stuff I've been doing, like Whisper, like these transcriptions, they're only like 90, 85% accurate. So it's kind of surprising how good the text applications are. but then with voice like processing is actually not that great still. It's still like kind of janky. So I figure it's just the variability of the human voice is much greater than the text, and so I think effect can definitely help create more data sets.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
All right, I think so. As you mentioned, it's been an hour. Is there anything else we'd like to cover?
I think we covered it all. I think those were the updates for now, and it's indeed been an hour. That went faster than I thought. But thanks everyone for listening in. Thanks DJ for being here as always. From my end, I think there no more updates. Any closing remarks?
Well, we're definitely gonna get a big shift in things because I think ChatGPT just released a $2,000 like AI agent plan, and I assume they would only do that if it's actually good. So uh, the amount of data that will be needed for these agents, like I think they're not here, but they were saying like things such as like interacting with the browser, right? Like I've been seeing a few applications where AI agent like basically just mimics being a person, clicking on things on the browser to do some sort of problem solving. But that stuff is really complex. Like for example, I've been playing around with trying to create an AI agent that can play games, and like a lot of games have like user interfaces that I'm sure you can just build a data set. Like probably far future, like this is probably something that can even won't be done for a long time, but I'd love for like some training, like if you could kind of combine Osana and Effect so that you can build like your own model by like commissioning data sets and then having that be trained on Osana GPUs, so that way you can like create your own specialized model for whatever like niche you need filled. I mean, I think that would be incredible uh, offer to many people.
Yeah, indeed. Did you say a $2,000 a month like agent plan for OpenAI?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
great.
like I saw on Twitter, yeah, it's
Is
like
that
$2,000 a month for their AI agent plan.
interesting? Yeah, yeah. The space is just it's definitely growing and going to new places. So the
Yeah,
time and place for effect is now like there's so much that we can integrate with.
yeah,
Because
so oh, go ahead,
it's
Rochelle.
never going to take over human stuff. There's always going to be human insight and intellect needed, for these things. I mean, they may make our lives easier, but nothing will ever replace us. That's the thing.
Maybe, maybe. I'm on the fence on that one. Because I mean, my skill set has been completely automated away, but so I gotta figure out other ways to do things.
You join the dark side because they got cookies. Okay. Well, I think we had a really good chat. If there's anything else, we can always, continue it on in the chat and Discord and Telegram. Lenny's typing one more thing, but I don't have anything further to add.
Yeah, great
I
call.
think
Great
great call
updates.
today. And it's
Yeah.
awesome to see so many OGs joining back in.
Yeah,
Yes, amazing. Thanks, guys.
yep. Yeah, everyone have a good one. And I'm hyped to see the V0 release on in the next month or so.
Yes, same here. Till next time.
Bye.
Till next time. Ciao, ciao.